We're now live.
We are now live?
Yep.
It's that time?
Yep.
Alright, thanks everybody for joining us. Tuning back in here at Stream of Conscious Podcast. I am Joey Sweet Sauce Stout, and this is Joel Blue Beef Jerky Cox. What are we talking about today, Joel?
We're going to talk about how busy my month's been.
Yeah, let's talk about... Okay, yeah, we'll work our way up into other stuff. You go ahead and talk about your month, and I'm going to make a couple little notes here.
You know, it's funny. I'm trying to... There. Anyway, so this is one of those months where I actually did a bunch of stuff. I went to Willard, Ohio.
This is the month you did a bunch of stuff, as opposed to all the other months that you
stayed home,
sit on your ass doing nothing. Joel, you are the busiest person I've ever met. Like, you never stop, you never sit still. You've always got something going on, and everybody's always asking you for one favor or another. So, good. So this is the month that...
so I went to a thing called FPV Fest.
Isn't that a virus? Isn't that a sexually transmitted disease?
No.
You went to HPV Fest?
FPV.
I don't know what that means.
First person view. Hey,
like a video game.
Yeah, so it's like a video game but with airplanes.
I'm a good guesser. Look at that. All right, so you went to your
Yeah, so share that.
I already did it. I'm ahead of you.
Okay. I just posted it. So move over.
All right, so now we're not just live. You guys are just now tuning in partway through the show.
Oh yeah, I should probably record this.
So all right, so what'd you do with your month? What is going on? We have so much stuff to do. We're like jam-packed today because we have
PodCamp.
We have pod. What is it?
I think it's called PodCon.
PodCon.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good name. That works for me. It's a podcast convention, so we're going to go nerd out with all the other podcasters. I'm kind of excited for this.
I am too.
Not just because I want to go and like promote the show, and I want to see what level of dorks also do a podcast. Like, I want to see really basically this is like I want to compare myself to everybody else there. I want to see if I'm the cool kid in school or if I'm like run of the mill or
we're probably below average.
I'm not talking about popularity. I'm talking like, because you know, like, I'm one of those people that, like, whenever I know a lot about, like, it looks like I'm always talking about comic books, and I get into a lot of that, but I read a decent bit of or have in my past, I've read a decent bit of comic books. I know a fair bit about a lot of the stories, but I've always been way more enthralled by the characters. Like, Spider-Man is one of my favorite characters of all time. I really didn't collect a lot of Spider-Man comic books. I didn't read a ton of them, but I still love Spider-Man. He's definitely in my top several characters that I enjoy a lot. And there's many other ones too, but I've always really, I know more about characters than I know about their story itself. And it's just one of those weird things that I've always been intrigued by the evolution of a character and the type of person they are, like good, bad, whatever. Like, I like terrible, shitty characters. I like and they make better stories. Like, you look at shows like House, where he's a deplorable character for the most part. He's awesome, but he's not a good person.
He's a good person.
He's not a good person. He's a touch of a sociopath, and like characters along that line. I actually started watching Jack Ryan, and we'll talk about that a little later. But okay, so my point is, like, I've always really been into the characters and the character development, and even in real life, like, that kind of translates for me too. Where, like, I want to go to this podcast convention, not so much for like the experience of the podcast convention, but because I want to people watch the people at the podcast convention. Like, I want to walk around and see what type and breed of person does the same thing that we do. Because if your thing is like, let's say you play football, you're on a team, you look around, you got other jocks and guys like you know the personality type, you know, like that, and there's the stereotypes and such, which you can believe in them or not. But like, when it comes to podcasts, basically it's one of those things that it's not a social thing as much, like you...
But it is a social thing.
It is, but it isn't in a way, because, like, people doing podcasts aren't going somewhere to do a podcast. They're sitting in their mom's basement doing a podcast. Okay, fair enough. But, like, I want to see what kind of people are also doing the same style of thing that we're doing. Like, I want to go and compare myself to all these people and not so, okay, so I shouldn't say compare myself to, because it's not a matter of, like, I don't want to judge or evaluate myself based on what other people do. I just really want to see who else is in this world, because this is not something that I ever, like, when we first started this, you said you want to do a podcast, and I went, sure. I had never listened to a podcast. We did our show for probably a year and a half to 2 years before I ever listened to not one single podcast other than ours. So I'm oblivious to what kind of world we were living in. Like the nerds, I've been to nerd conventions, I've been to comic book conventions. It's a bunch of fat guys in a stretched out t-shirt that says Chewbacca on the front of it, things like that. Like, and you get like I know what nerds look like, I know what they sound like, I know what they act like. Podcasters, a whole different breed of nerd. Like, that's a completely different nerd genre that I'm just totally oblivious to, even though we've been doing a podcast for how long now? Like a long time.
It's been 2 years and a month.
Is that all it's been? It
Yep.
feels longer. That's what she said.
So,
You were going to say that and I beat you to it,
no,
didn't I?
we started July of 2016.
Okay.
Recorded a bunch of episodes. I didn't publish until December. We recorded a bunch of episodes in November and October. And I finally threw them all up the weekend of Christmas. And then in January we started recording monthly. And then that's when we went off the races.
That couldn't have been more boring.
Well, we are currently up to episode number... Loading, please.
You know, it's funny. I used to yell at
88.
you all the time for being on your phone while we're trying to film a podcast. Like, but now I have notes and like I use my phone. There's so much stuff that's going on in my phone that is part of the podcast. So like now I realize all the stuff that I was like, Joel, put your phone away and film a podcast with me. Now I do the same thing.
Uh-huh.
I've become my own worst enemy.
Yeah, that's how it works.
I'm a hypocrite.
But as I was saying, so, Willard, Ohio, hung out a bunch of overseas nerds. We flew airplanes and quadcopters and stuff. That was a lot of fun. I learned a lot. I saw, hey, the pros break stuff too.
The pros, because you were always breaking your.
Yeah.
No, you were doing something with we were talking about like a way of you refine your stuff, like when you lose it or something, a while ago.
Yeah, there's a tracker, a little tracker and dot you can use. There's actually GPS on the planes that shows you the latitude.
So did you get any of that stuff? Did you put a GPS on your
Well,
on
yeah,
your drones?
my wing I have a GPS on so I can find it.
Okay.
The drone does have a beeper on, and I turn the beeper on, I go look for it. But not a big deal.
Okay.
But like I saw the one
That's cool. Like if you get something that like makes a noise, like that's probably like you can send a little signal and it goes
Exactly.
beep 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 beep.
well, it's within like 100 feet of it.
Like whenever they lose Navy SEALs into the
Yeah.
ocean, they had the little flashy light thing that goes off. You need something like that. So
Yeah. So we did that. Following weekend, I actually stayed home, which was a shock. Then went to Philly. Annie and I did a couple waterfalls.
Oh, that's cool.
And we went to this place called
In Philly, or near Philly,
near Philly, Cullum Sile.
Column Style.
Yes.
And this is a cool place.
Yeah.
Let's promote it. Let's give them a little shout out.
So basically, actually,
COLUMCILLE, Columcille, Megalith Park.
yeah. So they've got a bunch of stones.
And this is wait. This is how the first page of Lord of the Rings looks.
Mm-hmm.
That's what this is.
So the guy, if I remember correctly,
No, where exactly does the Hobbit live?
I don't think he lives anywhere. But if you turn around and read the story of...
Oh, this is a whole lot of story that I'm not going to read.
No, you're going to read it.
All right, here we go. Stones are guides and can connect the source of creation in the beginning timeless spirit of consciousness. Why do I feel like you're trying to sell me on a religion here? Like, this
No.
feels like a track. Like,
Nope.
is this going to be one of those, at the end of this, it's going to tell me to show up on Sunday morning and put $1 in a collection? Okay.
No.
All right, stones are guides and connect to the source of creation in the beginning timeless spirit of consciousness, joining stars to stars, age to age. This is beautiful. This is poetic.
It is.
Come dance with the stones, touch them, hear their song, prepare to enter realms unknown. This is definitely from Lord of the Rings. They stole this from
Yeah,
Lord of the
they did.
Rings. I've never read Lord of the Rings, but I imagine I've seen part of one of the movies. Better movie, Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit?
Lord of the Rings.
Really? I know people that will argue with you.
That's fine.
Where did we leave off? Journey well. That's the whole sentence. Journey well. And may the spirit of openness of all awaken your memory and connect you to the mysterious source. Enter through the infinite gate and journey at your own risk.
So, this guy, his dad, I believe he's Scottish, if I remember correctly. He,
Scottish are the kilt wearers.
So his dad decided to make this park full of stones. And basically, this one here, that's the Gate of Thor.
Okay, so for the audience at home, that's wait, that looks like something. Where are we at? I don't know if they can. Oh, close second. That's right. All right, doesn't matter. Not important.
Anyway,
Go tell your story.
they're these giant stones. So they're it's about 20 feet high. The two side stones are 4 tons apiece. The top stone is 8 tons.
Can you climb on top of it?
No.
What happens if you climb on top of it?
I don't think you want to do that. So anyway,
Where is your sense of adventure,
let me
Joel?
tell my story. So the guy had a guy with a crane that put these stones up.
What would Frodo do? Just throwing that out there. I'm sorry.
So he laid the stone, looks at the stone, and goes, "That's not level." The guy in the crane's like, "What are you talking about? That's not level." They threw a level on it. It wasn't level. So he had him raise the stone, top stone, walked around, found a ram stone, climbed up, threw it on, lowered it down, perfectly level. So
Wow, OCD much? And now, so the giant million-ton stone is laying on top of basically a pebble. That seems a bit precarious.
bigger than a pebble.
That's probably why you're not allowed to climb on top of it.
So they have a infinity gate, which is basically like a maze. You ever see those stone gate? It's like a bunch of stones on the ground. They got a pattern, so you follow the pattern around. It's
Okay.
like a maze on the ground.
Okay, yeah.
They have one of those. They have
I want to do one of those the maze, like the corn mazes.
Mhm.
I want to do one of those. We got to find one.
It's not that hard. There's tons of them around here.
I know, but I want to find one. We need to find some fall festivals.
Fine.
All right.
So basically, his dad set up all these stones, and he'd sit down and like think about it, and basically he'd have these visions of what they should look like. So he'd get his crayons and he'd get his piece of white paper and put these stones down. These giant stones are like a ton or 10 plus. So they would have these backhoes that would kind of like move it, but then they use these giant bars to like place them.
Okay.
And when you go there, it's really surreal because it kind of reminds you of Stonehenge, kind of certain areas. Actually, let me grab the Facebook post. Actually, I'll grab it on here. Stop for me.
So is it like above your head height level, or is this like just
No,
stones
it's
like
above
you
your.
want?
These things are huge.
So you were legitimately in a maze.
Yeah.
That's very cool. And this is out in Philadelphia, or by Philadelphia.
The stone, the Infinity Gate, the maze one is really small, but they've got these stones that are like 10, 15 feet high. Like I've got a picture of Annie. Let's see. I probably should have prepared better, but you know that's how I roll.
Yeah, you're right. When have we ever been prepared for our show? All right, so
But basically, this place is really peaceful and really cool, and apparently they play live music there, and the music will bounce off the stones, and it's... Oh, you won't hear for another half hour, don't worry
ruining
about
the
it.
illusion of that one. Here in Studio J.
Let's see, it's about a week ago.
All right.
so- But the
What was
guys-
the weather like? Because we had a lot of rain this week.
It was
Did,
actually... Well, this is actually last weekend. The weather was perfect. It was like...
We're having a beautiful day today.
Yeah.
I am loving today. I don't want the weather to get colder. This has got to go. That's driving me insane. I hate the cold, and I am so sick. Like fall rolling up, like I'm so tired. If I hear one more person tell me how fall's their favorite season, I'm going to drown them in a pumpkin spice latte. Someone is gonna die.
Give me 1 second while I do this, guys.
And the other thing too, if fall is your favorite season, if you're like, I just love the autumn, and you have cold feet and you put them on another person, you deserve to be shot. I believe that's like, I think we should bring, like, not necessarily the purge. I'm just saying there's certain exceptions that should be made occasionally, and I think the beginning of fall, we should be allowed to murder at least. I'm not saying go nuts. I'm just saying you pick one person that is put their cold feet on you. I got distracted. There was definitely boobs on the screen there a second ago, right? I mean, it wasn't like boobs, but it was like it was something chesty up there.
You're seeing things.
I was trying not to. Was it Kat Dennings?
Nope.
How is that not your screensaver at this point?
Oh, there we go. We got that.
I'm getting buzzed over here. Somebody's probably yelling at me for something.
So I'm going to share that. Just a second.
Yes, if you love fall. It's not if you love fall. If you love fall and you put your cold feet on people, drowned in pumpkin spice latte.
There we go. So we'll make that bigger.
Yeah, I am sick of hearing the fall. Like, nobody ever says, you don't really get that. Like, in the summertime, people, you might ask someone and they can tell you that the summer is their favorite season, but nobody brags about it like unsolicitedly. Like summer doesn't roll around and people just start going, "Oh, I love the summer. Summer's the best."
some
Summer's
people
the-"
do.
I don't. You don't catch it like you do in the fall.
Oh, I've met them.
But I'm saying in the fall,
There's both.
like sometimes
But
people are
stop.
like,
back to what I was doing, because here we go.
Go
So
ahead.
this is his dad, William H. Koa.
all right,
So he
Bill Koa Jr.
mhm. Oh, he actually died this year. I thought he died
Are,
last
are they seeing this or are we?
Yeah, they're
this
seeing
is-
this.
Okay. So they're not looking at my beautiful face.
No.
That's okay. Let's keep looking at Bill.
So he's the guy who basically had the idea to build this place. And
Bill Koha looks like a character out of like a 1960s movie. He looks like somebody who should be like a side character in a Dick Van Dyke movie. All right, what are we doing here?
so, as it says here, it's a 17-acre non-profit private park, open to the public, unique sanctuary for the creation of the human spirit and sacred place, blah, blah, blah. Basically, you go there, you look at the stones, you go, wow, that's pretty cool.
Labyrinth was a Tom Cruise movie. Bottom right-hand corner of the screen. Go ahead, everybody. All right, so Google it, check it out. If you happen to catch yourself in the Philadelphia area, then you
So-
should swing by, come off a
So
hill.
this is his son.
Oh, look at that.
He took
Is
over
That's
for-
Bill's kid?
Yeah. He's a really
He-
nice guy. So they built all the stones are either placed or built.
He looks like the old white version of you. Like, go back to that picture for a second, though, because tell me that's you, white, in 20 years. That's exactly what we're looking at right there. You guys even tuck your shirts in the same.
So they have this chapel to build.
We got to get you a cowboy hat.
So this thing is actually, it's a big round.
There's the Hobbit house, Joel, that I was asking about.
It's not a Hobbit house. Hobbit houses are underground. This is not underground.
You know what? Touche.
So on the inside,
Where does Voldemort live?
nowhere around here. But basically, people come here and they meditate and they think about stuff and listen to the silence, which is pretty cool. And then that's the top. This is just
That's where you travel through to the other dimension. That's where Narnia is, right?
that's what I was thinking, but no, it didn't happen.
That's like Stargate SGU or something mixed with yeah. Oh, I'm getting this. That's a big pile of rocks that you just took.
Yeah.
You were like a giant pile of lump of rocks that you just had to have a picture of.
So just the structures and stuff. So
Please
This is
maintain silence.
This is the
because
rock-
that's where the witches pray.
So basically, you walk in here and you walk around and try and get to the center. And
Oh, so, okay. So that's the maze thing.
yeah,
All right, so it's not like a legit maze. Like you can, it's like you can look at the rest of the maze. I
You
thought it
think.
was like a tower. Like
no,
when
but you think
walk,
that you think
can't
that
see.
that's easy, but apparently, and these kids are. I don't think I'm getting through. And he's like, "How do I get stuck in here?"
You
So-
step over a stone.
No, but you have to follow the path, and apparently, some people actually get lost. In the center, there's a place where people can drop stuff off.
And somebody put a Fallout sticker.
Huh?
I recognized Fallout. There's
That's-
Annie.
Yeah, that's Gates.
No, that makes. Here's the thing: is it looks like that thing's like 40 foot tall, but really Annie's only 2 foot
No,
tall.
she's 4 foot 11 inches.
She's 4 foot 11 inches, so that thing is
12.
not as monstrously tall as you think
It's
it
like
is.
12 foot.
I'm saying I've seen basketball hoops taller than that though.
Uh-huh.
It's deceivingly tall because Annie's in the picture.
Whatever. So back to the show.
All right.
So I did that. Did a couple more waterfalls. So I have a new thing that I'm doing now. So I told you about the beach with the little test tube
Yes, you're taking little bits of sand and you're putting them into a test tube
with water
with water.
with the GPS location of the beach. So I'm gonna do the same thing with waterfalls. I'm gonna get a water sample. I'm gonna make some kind of crazy design thing and hang the water sample.
This is either genius or insane.
I'll wait till one day.
And-
like all 50 waterfalls of Pennsylvania, and before I become a waterfall man,
And what are you going to do with this?
I'm gonna combine them and become waterfall man.
Like an evil villain on a Mega Man video game. Which power do I need to defeat you?
So, this week
The power of logic.
I drove up to Ohio to to Columbus to meet Scott Johnson from The Morning Stream, another podcast I listen to.
Okay.
And it was actually kind of cool because I was the first.
I like how you said you met Scott Johnson, like a completely arbitrary reference to somebody nobody knows except for you because you listen to a podcast he's in. Like, I was like, who's Scott Johnson? Is this someone we know? Like, I was running through my brain there trying to figure out who it was for a second.
But he has like probably like 10, 20,000 fans. And he did this convention out in Columbus. And I was like, I was going to go to the meet and greet between 6 and 8 to like actually meet him and say hi. So I'm walking around the convention, and I see him like, hey, you're Scott Johnson. He goes, you're the first person I recognized today. Hey, have some pens. So he gave me some artwork, gave me some pens, went to his talks. Dude's a really cool guy. So I'm kind of hoping.
No, what's his podcast about?
So he hates the Morning Zoo, like how it's all these commercials and like the whole bill and
Morning Zoo is another podcast.
no radios, like actual radios.
Oh, okay. I got
So he wanted his own morning.
Because
show.
Morning Zoo sounds like a podcast.
He wanted
We're
to-
getting so far down the rabbit hole of things I don't understand, Joel.
That's a lot of things, Joe. You're kind of dumb.
Yeah. I'm not dumb, I'm misinformed.
So anyway, he basically does his own like kind of like a radio show podcast, but it's all the stuff he wanted in a radio show.
Okay.
So I was listening to this talk about how he started the whole thing. You'll never guess what he was doing when he was a kid.
What?
He ran around a tape recorder, recording random stuff on a cassette tape.
Like a psychopath. Who else do we know that's done that?
I don't know. That's kind of
Yeah.
funny, isn't it? Anyway,
Moving along.
It's-
It was Joel.
it was really cool hearing his story and having him talk about how he got started and how he had love for radio and stuff, but didn't know what he was going to do with it. So.
That's very neat, though.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool to get into something like that, like it's something that like follows your passion. Because like a lot of people don't have. I think that's the thing is most people are not. It's not a lack of motivation. Like I've always felt with me, I'm either undermotivated or overmotivated for everything. Like I want. I don't really have like a set passion. Like there's not one thing that I go, this is something that I just adore and I love and I have to do and I want to be a part of and I have to, like I've never been like I really need to be a pilot or whatever. Like I have too many things where I get really enthralled with them, and what happens is it's like it's almost like having ADD, like where I start doing one thing and I'm like, oh, I love this and I could do this and I want to like build from here, like doing the podcast thing, and then I get so far into this and I go, you know what else would be really cool? And then I start, and then I get too sidetracked.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm always working on too many projects at once, and I know you stay busy because you always have stuff going on. I stay busy because I am always like starting something new, but I never finish anything. Like it's always the arcade machine, and then it's the crafts I'm working on, and my record clocks, and doing the podcast, and I can go on for a while.
So the one panel I talked about was work-life balance, because it's basically it was at GDEX, which is like a video game development conference, and the one developer, he actually worked on the Madden games. Another developer, she worked at some indie game company that makes a lot of video games. She's been very, very popular on Parallel and indie games. There's Scott Johnson doing a podcast. They were talking about how they have like two. There was like 3, 2, 1. Like one. Scott had 3 kids. Girl had 2 kids, and like I had 1 kid. They're talking about how the one guy who schedules his entire life is the only way he can get stuff done. The woman was talking about how her and her husband basically trade off. He basically changes his computer all day and does all the coding, and she can do her stuff on the fly, so she's always taking her laptop with her to do stuff.
Okay.
But the one thing she mentioned was, like,
It always kills me to see people that are that motivated. Like everywhere they go, they're working. Like
well, she doesn't have a choice, because she kind of runs a video game development thing that if they don't do it, they don't get paid.
no, and I get that, but like that's always like one of those things. Like I enjoy my downtime too much. Like I distance myself from my job, but like, and again, I guess that goes back to the whole having a passion of something that you love and something you enjoy so much that it's like it's not work. Like she does this all day, every day. It's just her life. It's not even her work. It's like it's literally how she begins and ends her day. Whereas like the rest of the world, and maybe I think that's the difference between someone who's successful and someone who's not, is working a job that's literally not a job for you. Like for me, I clock in, I clock out, that's it. Like I deliver furniture, and if you say, hey, will you slide the chair in at the dining room table, I go, fuck off. Whereas, like, because I don't want to, I'm done. I do that all day, all along. I'm not doing it right now. I'll go scrub the toilet. I am not going to push furniture around the house. Because, like, that's just that mentality of that's work, and I don't want to do work outside of work. And that's not necessarily true, because
Yeah.
I will help, friends move stuff if need be. But it's not something that, like, by any means
Yeah.
I want to do or be willing to do outside of work unless necessary. But like things like that, where she runs this video game company. Where she's like, you know, and you see people like this all the time, where like everywhere they go, they have like they're not working, but all of their work, their laptop or their whatever, their life is right there with them. Or like people who are like constantly, you know, if I'm on my phone, odds are I'm looking at Facebook, porn, or playing a video game. Like that's it. Like there's really no, I'm not working on my phone 99.9% of the time until I go, oh, you know, it'd be a fun goofy name for the podcast, and then I type it in, and that's it. Like 1% of my phone is podcast related. Other than that, and even it's not really a job. This isn't like a job. It's something we just do, you know, out of fun and am I too loud?
No.
I hate, every time you start moving buttons, I start thinking I'm doing something wrong, or you're turning me off.
No, I was trying to get rid of some of the fuzz in my...
Oh, gotcha. So.
But the one tip she mentioned was like, this one guy wanted to start like playing a video game or something. And he goes, I never had the time. She goes, well, just look at it this way. If you were going to go to the movies today, it's going to be 90 minutes. Set that 90 minutes aside into work on your project. And after that 90 minutes, leave it set for a day. Come back to it again.
It's crazy when you think about, like, as far as like getting motivated, and that's one thing. Like whenever, and right now I haven't really been working out and hitting. I don't really never really hit the gym, but I used to like go for runs, and I like staying active, and I was always like staying physical. And one of the things that really got me motivated was I saw somewhere someone posted something to the effect of 1/24 of your day, something as little as 1/24 of your day. You work out for that little bit of time. And you're like, I could do 1/24 of my day. That's 1 hour. It's 1 hour of your day. You don't realize how big a day is until you break it down in increments like that. And then to say like, set aside 90 minutes or an hour, whatever, to work on, whether you're a writer or you sew dresses, or it's just your workout time, or whatever keeps you going. Set aside that 1 hour a day to do something that you enjoy, that you're actually passionate about, something you want to do. Is really not that much. And you figure, if you think about it, how many times have you caught yourself sitting around doing absolutely nothing, playing on Pinterest or being on Facebook, or going through all the clickbait, and you'll sit down and do it and go, it's an hour and a half, 2 hours later, your time just flew by, and it's time you could have been using constructively, and it's not even time you would have missed. I've never been like, wow, that was a really good hour on Facebook, I learned something great. Never, ever, not one time. So, I think that's, especially with media being the way it is, and I really put a lot of the focus on Facebook, that it's distracted our lives so massively that it's keeping us from growing as people in a society. I really think that, I know. What you used to blame it always on TV, right? Now you go back 20, 30 years or more, you look at it and they said, TV was called the boob tube. It was something that made you an idiot. It was the idiot box. Like, you would sit down and you would watch TV, and it would just keep you busy so that you could waste away your entire life and do nothing. But really, even back then, like, I remember as a kid getting up Saturday morning, watching morning cartoons, and then going outside and playing and hanging out with my friends and being active and doing stuff. But if you had downtime, you watched TV. But that was if you had downtime, you watched TV. Did it waste some of your life? Absolutely. But now, in this day and age, you don't have to wait till Saturday morning for cartoons. You don't have to. You can watch between Netflix and Hulu and Amazon Prime Video and on demand, and there's always, and then you go to your phone and you can be on Facebook, you can be on Pinterest, you can be on Snapchat, you can be on Twitter, you could literally wake up in the morning and spend your whole day doing absolutely nothing and not waste a minute and not spare a minute of it, other than to go to the bathroom and make yourself something to eat. And really, if you're coordinated enough, you can make food while you're playing on your phone.
I'm glad you didn't say something else.
I know exactly where your brain is, and we're moving on.
By the way, I think I made a mistake. The guy's Irish, not Scottish.
Yeah, I think that we don't care anymore.
No, I care.
I know you care. I know how important that is to you, but the rest of our audience totally stopped caring about that the moment we stopped talking about it. And some of them stopped caring before that, Joel.
You know what?
Irish, Scottish, some sort of white guy. we saw him or his kid or whatever. He's a degree of the waspy people that have the stone mill. So, but it looked like fun, and go do it if you're in the area. Do we have anything else we have to plug? How much time do we have left?
Probably like 5 minutes.
5 minutes. Okay, I do want to plug one thing real quick, and I'm gonna put a link underneath as soon as the show's over. So check back, or if you're watching this after the live show,
You can put a post in the Facebook page.
we can, but I don't have it accessible right this moment.
Yeah, you do.
No, I mean I don't have my
I was
post.
saying, you
right.
can go to the Facebook page for Stream of Consciousness and post it in there.
Oh, okay. After the show.
Yeah.
Yes, I will do that. More. Honestly, Joel will do that.
Yeah, you're doing it.
Fine, I'll do it. Joel's doing it.
It's your cause.
Yeah, I'll talk you into it. It's actually not my cause. It's a friend of mine is lost a while ago. Lost her grandmother, and I knew her grandmother. Loved her grandmother to death. One of the sweetest, nicest ladies you've ever met. Like just so full of life and so energetic and so enthusiastic. And her grandmother loved me, and I loved her right back. I got a chance to really be close with her. Wonderful woman who then suffered from Alzheimer's, and actually I know more than just her. This is the my friend who's sponsoring this page for Alzheimer's is doing it as a you know how people do, like, it's my birthday, but don't give me anything, donate to. Her goal is super duper low. She's only looking to hit $200. She'd like to raise $200 for Alzheimer's. So please, if I don't care, there's a donation page. I'll put the link down there. Click through, go to the donation page. Whether you give $5, $10, $1, I don't care. If we can raise that $200 for Alzheimer's, I think it's a very important thing. I feel like it's money that's well spent. It's a serious disease. Almost everyone knows someone who is either has suffered from it, or most likely someone who will suffer from it. It's a very it hits very close to home. It's not quite cancer, but it's a heavy duty problem that a lot of our elderly suffer from.
That way you can stay off Alzheimer's by doing puzzles and stuff to keep your mind active.
Right.
So the one lady I used to work with, I forget who.
Well, it helps slow down the process.
Yeah.
Because Alzheimer's actually physically changes the brain.
So I forget who it was. It's somebody she knew. When they got older, they kept getting, like, I don't know what kind of test it was. Basically, something kind of like an IQ test, but not.
Okay.
So every year they take the test, and apparently they caught that he was getting the early stages of Alzheimer's, and they were able to treat it.
Okay.
So
that's pretty cool too. And I think that's a lot of what, like, the donations and stuff go towards is prevention and working towards, because they do believe that it is something that can be not necessarily, well, maybe reversed, but it's
you can catch it early enough.
Right. It can be stopped. It can be, a lot can be done for it. It's not it's not a dead end road. It is legitimately. It's not like there are some things that just there's no cure for. There's no stopping. Yeah. Hopefully one day we find a cure for cancer, and I think that's another huge thing that I support and I feel people should donate money towards and everything like that. But there are some certain diseases that certain things. It's a drop in a bucket, and it's just not going to come back, and it's not going to help. Like you got all these countries that have these people that are starving, and you might feed one kid for a day, which, I mean, by all means, that's still an amazing thing. But really, that's a problem that needs to be resolved, not bandaged. Mm-hmm. And when you look at things like the cure for cancer, all the pink ribbon stuff, and I can't remember what color the Alzheimer's awareness is, but when you look at these things, these are salvageable problems. I don't know if I spelled Alzheimer's right. ALTZHIMERS is my best guess on this one. But all right, so regardless, donate through to my friend's page that we will. Purple. Okay. Yes. So donate to the Purple Ribbon people, and hopefully we all can make a difference.
And one more thing, Labradite. I got
Labradite.
I got that at the stone place.
What is? Oh, that's cool. It's like shiny. I don't even think. I bet the camera can't even pick that up. Like how neat that is. It
doesn't do it justice. But based on how you hold it is how it refracts the light.
Yeah, it almost looks like you're looking through it, but you're not. And it's like, it's shiny. This is neat. It's like a magic trick almost. Mm-hmm. Labradite.
Yeah.
Neat.
So.
All right.
And with
we
that,
could skip that across the lake. All right, thanks for joining us, everybody. I hope you enjoyed our live episode of Stream of Consciousness podcast. And
don't forget, if you guys are not busy today, Sunday, September 30th, 2018, between 5 and 10 p.m., go down to the Spirit.
Can they come in and actually see the podcast?
Yeah.
Why were we not talking about that then? That should have been the whole show. Come down and see us.
Well,
Joel's going to post the address.
I sent the Facebook event
Directly under this video. We will have the address posted. Also, the Alzheimer's donation page.
Well, earlier today, I actually posted the
Okay,
link.
well, but put it under this video also because we shared, and that way it'll link through it, everything. All right, everybody, thanks for joining us. We'll see you here next time, and
Disco.
good night, everybody. Mwah.
Okay. And